This is what we like. I'm working at Startup Lab in the University of Oslo, the Oslo Science Park. We also administrate the Founders Fund. I'm going to tell you a little bit about both. And just to make a statement, no company was started by a venture capitalist. It was the entrepreneurs. And we love the entrepreneurs. And from what I see from the audience, there's a lot of potential entrepreneurs here. Is that right? Raise your hand so just I know the audience. Fantastic. This is the one I should use, yes. My background, I've been building businesses on an international basis. I've been buying companies, I've been selling companies. And I got the opportunity as an angel investor also to be a part of Startup Lab. This has been a fantastic journey so far. We are a team of 4. It's Rolf Asse, for those of you who were in this morning. He was a part of the key team building Opera software. The third member is sitting in Silicon Valley at the Innovation House. Probably everyone of you know about Innovation House. He built 2 IT companies before he graduated at the University of Oslo. And he's been investment director at the investment vehicle of Møller Gruppen. And the fourth guy completing us is an ex-McKinsey analytical guy. So it's nice to have a guy that can say no to things. So these guys were working like hell over the Easter. They just arrived into the Startup Lab incubator. I'm going to tell you a little about that before. We're super passionate about helping companies. We've been building businesses since we were quite young, every one of us. And we'd like to help other people build businesses, successful businesses. So in essence, we say we would like to help the Norwegian community to build successful IT businesses. And do you know, the IT businesses in the early age of internet started in Oslo Science Park, exactly where we are, in the basement. And the major node of internet is below our feet. So we are kind of in a sweet spot from that sense. But what we do, we basically empower the entrepreneurs. That's our job. And I'm going to tell you about how we do it. But firstly, I'm going to tell you about what is Startup Lab. You don't have to have earned a lot of money before you come to us. If you have an idea, come to us. Don't call Investor, come to us. And if we think that idea is good, and you don't have to send us a 15-page business plan, you don't all the business canvas, it's just crap in the beginning. If you have an idea, if you have the passion, and if you can show us through a simple email, 5 lines, I would like to meet you guys because this and that. We invite you for a meeting, and then we sit down for 1 or 2 hours. If we like your idea, you might be a part of Startup Lab. But the most important thing is you. If we believe you have the ability and passion to build a company based upon your idea, I'm sure that you will be a part of Startup Lab. The Startup Lab is a place where you can sit with fellows that have the same passion as you, serial entrepreneurs, or fresh people coming from the university. Actually, we travel around and do speeches, and we say to all the students, don't go into the corporate evil. You will be a tiny piece of something that you really don't understand what it is. If you are an entrepreneur, you will learn so much within the first 2 years. And you have the ability. You don't have the house, you don't have the villa, you don't have the Volvo, you don't have the dog. You have the ability to take the risk the first 2 years. Use that opportunity as a student at the university. What we do, there's no strings attached. You will pay us, it's a little bit more than 1,800 NOK, it's 21.90, because we need to earn some money running an incubator as well. There's 1 month cancellation. So you don't have to spend the money as an entrepreneur securing the rent for the next 3 to 5 years. If you are 1 guy in August and you would like to be 10 guys because you're going to gear up your project in September, we have the space for you. In addition to that, we do the workshops. using our competence as a team, also pulling in other people, the serial entrepreneurs sitting in Startup Lab. If you have a project, not on a portal, but you have a specific project that we know one of the two guys sitting in the next corner have done it, and they have done it, and they are 6 months ahead of what you're trying to achieve, we bring them into the workshop. So it's a fantastic venue for competence that can help you to succeed and take the early steps in building the company. We also have service partners. Being a law firm called Stensrud Stordrange, they committed to be there every Friday, year-round, from 9 to 3, to give pro bono advices. Every Tuesday, there is an accounting firm giving pro bono advices to everyone sitting in Startup Lab. And there is a DENS, it's an IPR company out of London. They come bi-weekly for free to help the entrepreneurs in Startup Lab to discuss the IPR questions. And they're far better than any patent office in Oslo, and they're far cheaper when you're going to bill you. And by the way, all these service partners are committed to a 25% discount to all companies sitting in Startup Lab. So that's what we do, running the incubator. That's only half of the story. But what do we believe in? Running. We guys being out in the industry, coming back and helping entrepreneurs. We believe that the individual is far more important than the idea. When you start up early, the idea will change. I can guarantee you, if you come to us with a specific idea, we thought about it for 6 months, 2 years, whatever. Once we start to work with you, it will go left or right. That's the nature of building a business. We believe that competence and network is far more important than capital. That's what we do, what I'm going to show you. Startup Lab is a unique place for the entrepreneur, but also for the investors. There are not that many investors in Norway. I'll give you also a little bit the Norwegian Paradox a little bit later on. But we know through our work a lot of the investors you should talk to, the ones you should not talk to, the ones that's best for your company, and the same thing with the industry partners that will try to help you to be the first client for your venture. Being in Startup Lab as a company, from the Founders Fund perspective, it's a good place to have to sit close to the entrepreneurs. We are sitting in the middle of the facility. We have 3,000 square meters. It's a lot of space. Today we have 150 entrepreneurs sitting there in 60 companies. And also it's a good place for the entrepreneur to get to know us. Because investing in a company, the motivation should be two-sided. And we don't think as a financial investor. We think as an investor who is sitting on the same side as the entrepreneur. I'll come back to that a little bit later on. It was called business angels. Get people who has done this travel, this success, or have sold a company or built a company before with luck or no luck. Doesn't make any sense or a difference. They have the skill set, they have the experience, and hopefully also they have the passion. I will come back to that a little bit later on to help you. So the Norwegian Paradox was up here. Is it good to be an entrepreneur in Norway? Is it easy? The startup activity, and if you follow the media, if you follow what the NTNU, I studied here myself, if you follow the university and the different activities, it's picking up. And we only invest within IT and tech. So we define the focus for our activity. And within the last 2 years, the number of startups from the official database, you have to register the company, etc., has doubled. At the same time, the liquidity in the market is increasing. There's a lot of capital in Norway. And when we travel, I've just been in Silicon Valley talking to venture capitalists, and we went to Google and so on. They don't understand the ecosystem in Norway. Why? There's one of the richest countries in the world are not able to put up a community that help entrepreneurs in the way they do it in Silicon Valley. And there's so few. Oops, it's going inside my. You won't do it again. I won't allow it you to do it again. Okay. So there's so limited early stage investments. I mean, we are not talking about venture capital. This is early stage, pre-seed investments. Why is that? High liquidity in the stock market. No one has been challenging these intelligent, smart money and business angels before. I mean, tax is a huge issue in Norway for entrepreneurs. Actually, they're moving out of Norway when they got enough capital. They don't have the money to pay the taxes. And also, investing in real estate is far more smarter from a tax perspective. So you just saw this one, right? So I'm talking about the business angel and the seed capital. The seed funds today has been working, 5 seed funds from earlier that spend their money. There are 2 new seed funds coming up, one from IT investments, that's Spring Alliance. Business angels, someone needs to organize them. And I talked to a guy from Seattle who's been instrumental in creating a network and business angels in the US. And also a Finnish guy came to me, we don't understand, why are you not working together? Meaning, Founders Fund is the idea for us to organize the business angels in Norway, the ones we know has been successful business entrepreneurs within the IT sector, and that's what we did. And the idea was then to use Startup Lab as a basis, remember what I said, to get to know the entrepreneurs, for them to get to know us, friendly money. We never take the majority of the company. I'll tell you about that a little bit later on. It's a very small fund. We don't need that much money in an early stage for IT companies. We're going to invest in 20 to 30 companies within the next 3 years. This was started in 10 months ago. And we have invested in 5 to 6 companies. Hopefully, by chance, we might have our first exit before the summer. Such a small fund cannot have management fees. And that's a big issue when you're talking to business angels. They would like the money to go directly to the entrepreneurs. So we are employed in Startup Lab, and the fund is something we do together by helping entrepreneurs, giving them the opportunity to have funding after they spend their own money and they got the grants from Innovation Norway or whatever program they've been involved in, coming from the university or have the idea themselves. Hurdle rate is the interest rate the investors get. Normally that's 7 to 8%. We said, guys, we're going to give you 15% in return. It's like putting money in the bank with the risk you get 15% return on the exit we do. Why do we do it? We would like to force ourselves not to sit on the projects too long, right? Because the hurdle rate can eat the success fee. That's where we get the capital return on the job that we're doing. And that's normally 20%, and that's the standard in the venture capital industry. So what we did, or what we said, we are going to make the leanest and meanest fund in the world, right? And the smallest one. So what we do, we operate, and the management is in Startup Lab. We don't have to ask anyone for a permission or go to the board, we're going to invest in this and that company. So we're quite quick. We're going to go early in, but also early out. We're not there for the long run. What we promise to the investor is that we're going to return the money invested, and then we might sit with an option of 5% if the company is growing. So there's no guarantee to get a lot of money back. So this is the team that we've been able to gather. super interested in the suggestion for this to establish the fund. And they gave us the money. And the quickest one to decide, he used 35 minutes. He said, this is a super fantastic idea. I'm in. But the most important thing, they bring the competence, the skill, the experience, and the network to the startups. Some of these entrepreneurs, like Untitled, he lives in Boston right now. But Johan Dolven, he started Help Forsikring. He was actually one of the guys who started the first internet company, Kalku, in Norway, that was started in Oslo Science Park. So, how do we work? Like I said, we are screening the companies easily. Don't come to us with a business canvas or a 25-page document. We are not going to read it. Let's meet. We focus on the individuals and the talent. 80% of the people sitting in Startup Lab are programmers. They are able to build the value of the company themselves. It's not people with a great business idea and need to outsource the first startup to Romania to have someone to program it. We think that it's important to know what you're doing. Then you have Startup Lab. Like I said, we do workshops on a constant basis. We have service partners. What we do also is to help them to increase the ambition. If you come to us with an idea to take the Norwegian market, wow, we think globally. And that's possible within the IT industry. And we also work with our partners and our network to help them to get the first customer. And you know why? People from the US, they don't understand why the state is not the first customer, because the state has so much money. While you have to have such and such much revenue, etc., etc., so it's quite difficult. And many of these companies are going to show you, first customers is in the US. Then we invest. It's the same team, 10 to 50% share. We only invest 250K to 1.5 million NOK in each company. The founders have the ability, if the company they need 3 million, they are able to co-invest. I got the timing here, so I'll go quite quickly. A few companies from the lab. I'll spend 2 more minutes. Yay Images, three guys sitting in Startup Lab, disrupting the microstock market. They launched the product a couple of months ago. Get the Images was on the phone. They've been in a meeting with Get Images, the largest stock photo provider in the world. They would like to buy the company, hopefully. Ames came out of the University of Oslo. Enterprise software. Takes 5 minutes to install. No consultants involved. Self-learning system. They're just signing up partners globally on a weekly basis. The team is 3 people. Skylib, we call him Google Geir, the guy that was a lead architect of building Google AdWords, came back from the US, would like to do something else, and he didn't want people to go and buy stuff all the time. So I implemented Skylib. He has another idea that we're working on right at the moment. Actually, Skylib is a result of 2 entrepreneurs that we brought together. Fantastic team. Yeah, that's the new project. This is a team that's not sitting here. They're grown out of the facility. When I came on board, there were 2 guys. They're disrupting the market. They're using biometrics to bank cards and security and access solutions. So no PIN code, and they're harvesting energy by using the swipe. Fantastic product. Launched the product in Las Vegas in April. All the big players in the industry came to the 4x4 booth. It's just amazing to see how the interest has increased. So a few takeaways. This speaks actually to those people that we would like to establish a fund. Takeaways. Define your focus. Don't go to conferences and be out there. Define your focus. Don't create a lot of events. Focus on the business that you are committing to the investors. Have an experienced team. You need more than students to help the entrepreneur. have one location. I know that at NTNU, there's a lot of locations. We are sitting in the middle of a location where the entrepreneurs are. Fantastic. They come by the door all the time. Have an open style and environment. Don't require a business canvas before you can start talking to them. Early stage entrepreneurs, I mean, you have to learn them how to build the companies. That's where we come in. Make their life easier. You know, make the incubator being a place where they have the freedom and the silence to build their idea, not to be a part of an event-driven activity. Get the smart money involved. Make sure you share make sure the smart money share the passion of the company. And what we learned, we started to think as a venture capitalist. We were like, you know, it's so easy to say no to invest in a company. It's the easiest thing in the world. Take the risk and do the investment. When I left the office 10 o'clock yesterday evening, these guys were in the sleeping bag. That's the first picture. And they told me, Tor, when you come back on Wednesday, we're going to surprise you. This is what we like, and this is our passion working with entrepreneurs. Thanks for listening.